All right, welcome back. Just got done eating lunch myself here. It's actually Thursday, the 18th. I'm going to hit this one out and maybe do one more, but we're packing with units. It's more volume, and if you were successful in lesson 8, you should be okay with lesson 9. So let's take a little peek at this thing here. And it says the length, the width, and the height of an object can be represented by rational numbers. Remember, a rational numbers, any number can be put into fraction form, leading to a rational number volume. Determine the measurement of each dimension given the measurement, all right, where 1 cubed is 1 unit. So it is 4 by 4 by 1 deep. Now, if we want the volume, we just multiply those through and get 16 units cubed. Remember, volume's cubic units. This is 2, 4, and 2. This is 16 units cubed, right? So we're rolling right along here. Next one up, this is where the units are half. So it can be a little bit tricky here. Maybe make sure you can see it there. You can. All right, so it can be a little tricky. So if this is a half, that's, 1, 2, 1, 2, and then you're a half deep, right? 2 times 2 is 4. Half of 4 is 2 units cubed. Okay, so we're 1 wide. There's 1, there's 1, we're 2, and we're what? One high, because it's a half. I had to think about that for a second. 1 times 2 times 1 is 2 units cubed. Okay. All right, let me bring you up here a little bit, make sure you can see. And you can, and here we go. Use the 2 figures below to estimate how many small cubes, all right, will fit inside the larger prism. How many of these will go into there? All right, so, and then how could you mathematically determine if your estimate is correct? Well, you could kind of guess, right? So it looks like this is going to be 2, and then it's 1, and that's 1 deep. So, if we were to do this, you would kind of give it one of these, and then, I guess you would split this down the middle, something like that. All right. But to me, when I calculate it, I just kind of look it out. You could calculate the volume of each prism and then divide the volume by the rectangular prism's volume. All right. So, how could I figure this out? We could just count. So that's hard to do, but, I guess we could bring that up as well. All right, let's flip it over and keep rolling on this vocab, man. Here we go. Let me pull that down for you just a little bit. Okay, so packing with unit cubes. First, determine the volume of both the smaller prism and the larger prism. Then divide the volume of the larger, right, prism by the volume of the smaller prism. Okay. So, how many cubes will fill the larger rectangular prism right below? All right, so side length is a half. All right, so this is just a half. That's what it's telling. It's a half. So it's a half by half by half. So the volume is length times width times height. Plug in our values. It's 1/2 times 1/2 times 1/2. And we end up with 1/8, right? 1/8. That's the volume. 1/8 of a cube to fill that. Same thing here. We're continuing on. Volume is length times width times height. Plug in our values. 1/2 times 5 seconds. Improper, it doesn't matter. Times 3 seconds. And your calculator will handle that, right? And we could end up being at 15/8, or we could be 1 7/8, right? So that's pretty easy to understand. Now, excuse me. Let's continue on here. How many small cubes will fill the larger rectangle? Okay. All right. So now they're a third, right? So this is now length times width times height, volume equals. Let me make sure you're okay. And we are. We're a third times a third times a third, and we end up with 1/27, right? Next one up, same deal, right? Volume is length times width times height. So we're 2/3 times 4/3 times 3/3, which is actually 1, right? We multiply all those together, we end up with 24/27. Mm-hmm. So what patterns do you notice in the problems above? All right. So what patterns do I notice? When the denominators are the same, they only have to divide the numerator. So that's when they're talking about what goes into what. But really, I'm not worried about that. I'm worried about finding the volume, and we're packing with cubes. All right, guys, thanks.